You good?
Yeah, I'm okay. How are you?
I'm deeply uncomfortable.
I'm trying to sit casual like last time.
See, when I say to people, like, "Oh, make yourself comfortable," everyone else absolutely cool. Like Cleo took her shoes off. I hate this. This is. I'm gonna take shoes off, but like I don't like the paint me like one of your French girls look you got going on. That is the intro. Like we're legitimately gonna start there. So I'm gonna get you to do the Uber pitch rather than me explain who you are and having you on. That mic is bang in front of your face. I'll move it for you. Thanks for helping.
Fuck.
Yeah, Uber pitch. You know what that means? Have you had this before?
Can we call it elevator pitch? Because that's...
Leave people alone in elevators. Who are you introducing yourself to in an elevator?
Just pitch business ideas, and you know, you've got so many floors to go up.
Okay, but at what point are you ever going to be like, "Hi, my name is, this is what I do, this is my career." They're going to be like, "Can you get out?" Okay, elevator pitch me, Beck. What is a Beck? Who is Beck? What does Beck do? Except for that.
Okay, well, Beck's just me. I'm very simple, very transparent. What I do is what I do. It's what everyone sees.
What is your job? Who are you? What do you do?
Thank you. I'm Beck. I'm a coach for DVD. Maybe a strength coach. Said maybe. I meant mainly.
I might be a strength coach. Oh no, I think I am. How are you finding the first few minutes of this? We're warming to it.
I'm panicking. I don't know why.
Tell me more about you. Tell me what else. Obviously, not just a coach, an athlete as well.
Yeah. So I just want to say I hate cameras in my face and mics on me.
Disclaimer.
Very few things faze me. This is it.
About 5 minutes in, it's just you're gonna realise you're just talking to me, and that's irrelevant.
Good.
Hey, worst case, we can delete the whole thing. Or best case.
Aren't we charging people to watch this because I'm in it?
No, this is definitely for free. Okay,
back to me. Yeah, I'm a strength coach. I'm an athlete. I was a student, but I've pretty much finished that now.
About being an athlete, in what? How long for? We do.
Well, currently I'm pursuing some powerlifting goals. Going to Western Euro soon. Have done, how many comps have I done? I remember I've done 4 nationals, 2 juniors, 2 opens.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
So how long have you been powerlifting?
My first comp, I was 17. I'm 24.
Some would say 7 years.
Yeah, okay, good. Someone did the maths for me.
Like, fuck between us, we can get through that.
7 years, but I think just powerlifting has been since I was 20, so only about 4 years now.
But you're also balancing other sorts of training before, right?
Yeah, so I used to do rugby before just powerlifting. And then during my rugby, I was also doing some athletics, like throwing events. Obviously.
This is where the chairs come in. Okay, so, because what I realised when we were going to do this podcast is, as you say, you're a DVD coach. I've known you for a few years now, and then realised I know literally nothing about you. An enigma of a man, of being like, okay, so now you're at the point where you're about to go to Western Euros, but I'm going to ask you to deep dive me a little bit, starting from what sport you started with at what age.
Cool. I like that. I like the idea of being an enigma, by the way. I was mentioned on one of the Irish lads podcasts. I think it was Odyssey Strength podcast, because Adam was like, "Oh yeah, let's not forget Beck was at Irish Nationals, just the biggest mystery in Irish powerlifting."
Is that what he said?
Yeah, and that is now in my personal Instagram bio, because I'm like, I like that.
That's quite.
I want to keep it that way.
The biggest mystery in powerlifting, in Irish powerlifting.
But yeah, deep dive-ish into me as an athlete. So I started rugby when I went to... So I moved from near Manchester down to Gloucestershire. And I met a friend at school and he did rugby. And I was like not sporty at all before that. I just played on the Xbox. I'm a fat kid.
Were you actually a fat kid?
I don't remember. I played rugby since then.
Right, okay.
But no, so... moved down, my friend played rugby, and I was like, I want to play this game that I've got no idea what the fuck it is. Begged my mum apparently for 6 months, I don't remember any of this, Mum finally caved in and was like, fine, I'll take you. And then from, I think, the age of 12, but I moved down when I was 9, so I don't know how long I was nagging her for.
So what was, as a kid, what was making you nag to go do rugby?
I don't remember this, so I don't know.
It's probably just a lie.
Could have been.
She's like, you nagged me loads. She just wanted you to go and wanted to be rid of you. Just like, you begged, I'm sure of it. You're like, I fucking hated it.
Near the end I did. But at the start, no, I think I just wanted to do some, play with friends like I was a child. That's what kids do. Right?
Most kids. You're not most people, Beck.
That's true. I think I turned into not most people.
So when you started out, it was just like a social ambition.
Yeah, I think
so. As far as you can remember, at what point did you have little bits of like competitive spark?
Things like the county cup really excited me. It really meant something to me. But for
what way?
For no real reason. I don't know that there was. Like I wanted to win the county cup. Like when you get higher and higher, I was like, oh, this is great. Like this is cool. I'm good at this. Well, I thought I was.
Someone's telling me I am. I'll take it.
Yeah. And then our team lost. I remember one game we lost the final, and I was just very annoyed and angry at myself for not doing well. I mean, I was the only one who scored a try for our team, and at prop that just doesn't happen. So
why were you scoring as a prop? Someone had to.
Someone had to do it, and no one else did. But yeah, then I got annoyed at that and upset. And then as I kept going, so then I was in the county team, and then I went into Southwest at under-18s a year early. Did it again, and then again, and then under-20s a year early during my final year of under-18s. It's like Southwest as well. And then I didn't get picked for Southwest the year after, and I was like, that's confusing. But then I did again the year after. So I played fairly high level, kind of.
That year you didn't get selected. How did you cope with that?
I don't remember. This is not good.
No, not got memories of these things.
No. I think I was just a bit like, oh, fair enough, because I'm not at the top age group.
Right.
And I was probably only picked the year before because they just needed to fill the space, really. It wasn't like I was picked properly. It was like, oh, we're running out of props. Oh, well, let's look at the under-18s team and pick a prop out.
Right.
Yeah, and I just got this ambition of oh, well, I want to go as high as I can. Like, I'm doing this sport now. I don't want to do this for fun. Like, that's weird to me. If I'm going to do something, I want to go to the top of it.
So there's a gap here, right? 12 years old starts rugby.
Because I'm 20. I want to play for England. I want to play for Ireland.
Because there's a drastic shift from kid at 12, supposedly begging mum. We don't trust her. Fine.
I don't.
To say that you want to go do it to play with friends, and there's 20-year-old being like, "What's the point in doing it for fun? I have to win." Do you have any inclination of where the difference came in?
I think it's as I plays more. I was more focused on my performance. Like the winning or losing of games, I wasn't fussed about because I couldn't control that fully. Like me, I can't control the rest of the team. Like I can support them, like we can do as well as we can, but I can't make our winger run faster. I can push harder in the scrum, I can do everything I need to do, like to the best I can. So I was just focused on me, got a bit selfish, and was just, like if we win or lose, I started not to get really annoyed at that. I was more annoyed at how I played. And then when things like county selection came up, I was in Gloucester under, I think, 13s, 14s, 15s, and I got dropped at under 16s pre-season. Which I was like, okay, fair enough. Like if you have an objective reason to drop me, like you're not good enough, that's my fault.
Is that the reason you were given?
Sort of. Like they gave me this sheet and it was like, oh, things you're good at. I'm like, I agree. Things you're bad at, and it was just like handling, like ball skills. I'm like, yeah, but that's a skill. Can't you just make me better at that?
Yeah, I can develop that. Because you're also like, so you're renowned for being, objective is the right word, the nice word of just a very objective, like matter of fact, grey doesn't really make sense. But is that like as long as you can remember? Like always been very objective? What are your parents like? Are they objective people?
My dad's pretty objective.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah, I've met him. I've just remembered.
My dad's objective, and my mum will argue both sides and play in the grey area.
Not like you at all.
No. When it annoys me and my dad sometimes.
So when you were playing rugby at a young age, was mum or dad present for your games?
Always mum.
Really?
Well,
So,
Dad would work all the time, and then weekends come, he's asleep.
so what about feedback, like a coach or like leading figures for you at that point? Was there anyone who was like, this is when you're doing, or were you self-charting what success was?
Self-charting mostly. Especially at a young age, the coaches, it's just like, oh, the team, oh, we're doing really well. It wouldn't really be individual stuff. As you got older, as you got into like higher level teams, like in Gloucester, it'd be like, right, you got to focus on how you can get better. Because if all the individual parts get better and you have your team aspect getting better, then the team's going to do better.
So,
and then I'd seek out like, how am I doing? You know, what do I need to work on with certain coaches that I trusted? Not like, wasn't going to ask the backs coach how I was doing as a prop forward.
yeah, maybe valuable opinions. So did you have like specific people you went to for opinion?
Yeah, like I had a local club and I'd speak to the forwards coach there, but he was also the county coach. And then I didn't really ask the Southwest coaches just because I didn't know them. Like they would have had a good opinion. I then later learned that rugby is very subjective. It's not really objective for like selection. And there was a lot of politics.
When you learnt this, is it so? Because what age are we up to when you're playing at like a high level? What's the highest level you got to in that? That's early 20s.
Yeah, like when I realised that the goal that I had, which was a national jersey, so to play internationally, I tried Ireland and I tried England. So England through the county setups. So yeah, like county rugby, which was Gloucestershire for me, and then into the Southwest, and then trying to get England county jersey from there. I also went through Irish clubs, like provinces. So there's Leinster, Munster, Ulster and Connacht are the provinces in Ireland. They're the big teams. But there's also a team in England called the Irish Exiles.
Yeah.
They only do, and that's not to be confused with London Irish, who call themselves the Irish Exiles. This was a different Irish Exiles. Right?
Brilliant. Keep it simple.
By
Love
the
that.
way, guys, it's not well known, the Irish Exiles in England, because it's all age group stuff. And when I was doing it, it was under 18s and under 20s.
Right.
Irish Exiles. But the age group stuff is birth year, whereas UK it's school year.
Right.
So I got into that. We went over and did our tour in Ireland at under 18s, and I was 16, so I was at the bottom. I'm used to being like top age group,
Yeah.
because of all the age stuff in the UK. But it's like, oh no, you're born in '98, so you're going to be in the under 18s. I'm like, I'm 16. All these guys are like, oh, A levels are hard. I'm like, I just did my GCSEs.
That's not quite the same experience at the moment.
Not at all. But it was good experience because I didn't do as bad as I thought at the time.
And for 16-year-old you, that must have been pretty validating of being like, I can hold my own in this age group with...
To an extent. So I didn't get picked in my position. I got picked on the condition I played a different position. I'm like, I've not played that before, thanks.
Oh.
I was prop forward, I had to play hooker, which people might think, that's the same, you're in the middle of the scrum. I'm like, I also have to throw at the line out. I've never done that.
Oh, that's a lot. So now they found skills that they can teach you.
Yeah, but it was like, you can only come on tour and you've got to play against Munster as your first game. I'm like, oh, they're like quite a renowned...
Very good team.
Yeah, very good team who, like, big forwards, very dominant in the pack, and I'm going in a scrum as a hooker that I've never done before. After that game, I needed acupuncture because I couldn't turn my neck.
So it was a good introduction at that point.
Yeah, and I was like, that's how I thought this would go. We just got bummed in the first scrum. I'm like, please put me up prop. I might have a better chance.
And so where does it go from there? So we get to...
Oh yeah, that tour didn't go well, by the way. I sabotaged myself, got in a mood, because I'm like, I'm shit, as you know.
Yeah, hold on. So... Well, we'll come back to that.
Okay. I was like, I'm shit, fuck this, they're not going to pick me, because I got taken off against the Leinster game because I missed a very vital tackle where they scored from. And I was like, that's it, game over. So I just got in a mood. And they did take me off after a while. And I just sat there like in a sulk, and my mum and dad were there because they came and watched the games while we were on tour. And my mum was like, stop being in a fucking mood. Like, you look bad. Not your performance. Like, right now, your attitude outside of the game, it looks bad. If like selectors aren't just going to look at how you play,
Yeah.
when your attitude outside the game and all these things, like this isn't helping you. And I was in such a bad mood, probably quite hungry.
Looking
And
for
we're just like,
starving.
fuck this, no. And the last game we played was Ulster, and the Irish selectors like asked who they wanted to play. I didn't play a single minute of that game. They were like, Beck, you're on the bench. I'm like, I can see where this is going. They didn't ask me to go on at all.
Really?
I'm like, yeah, I've ruined my chances.
So then what did happen? Like, that was it? That
was it. That was my route to Ireland jersey gone. And I ruined that for myself.
And are you seeing that as you've ruined it from the tackle, or you ruined it from the attitude?
My attitude, I'd say.
Okay.
Like, I could have done something better or made up for that performance. But, yeah, that was my Ireland journey gone for rugby. My England journey was...
Oh, and before we move straight on, because that's a bit... What age has that just happened?
I was 16, so I finished my GCSEs and I was going to go into sixth form that year.
So like you just, sort of, whatever point we can't quite identify, when you accrued this attitude of, I want to be at this level, I want to win, you've got to 16, you're like, there's an opportunity. And as far as you can tell, you fucked it.
I fucked it.
How does 16-year-old you deal with that?
I think 4 weeks earlier, I was on tour with the sixth form I was going to join in South Africa. And for like 3 weeks, we lost that last game, we got bummed. To be fair, they did have under 16 South African players in that school.
Right.
In the meal after, Beck sat down and cried in front of everybody, embarrassing himself, and people are like, "What the fuck's wrong with you? Like, so what? We lost. This is like one of the best teams in South Africa." And I'm like, I'm supposed to go to Ireland in about 4 weeks and play the Irish teams. If I can't do this here, I've got no chance over there. And then one of the teachers was like, "You got like 4 weeks.
Time to prep, time to practice."
And also, we're in Johannesburg at altitude. You've never been in altitude. I'm like, no, I haven't. This is week 2. This is our last game. You have had 2 weeks. 1 week of disgusting training at altitude. Then we went down and played townships and easy games. And we had some skillful teams as well that we played. And we did all right there. And now we're all fucked, knackered. We're all broken. Half the team's got fucking malaria. And we lost like 69-15 or something. It wasn't that bad.
Which is obviously completely true. The 16-year-old, you hear that.
I mean, he heard it, but was like he was like, yeah, okay. But still, I'm a bit worried about going to Ireland.
So then 4 weeks later, we have this opportunity, missed tackle, bad attitude.
Yeah.
And then
myself.
How does 16-year-old you cope with that by comparison?
He coped better. He didn't cry about it because it was just like, I fucked this opportunity. But I enjoyed it as well. I'm like, this was fun. And I thought, oh, I can do this next year.
Can you just do that next year?
No, I didn't. Like, they were like, nah. Because I think then I went up to... I think they didn't have the tour the next year or something.
Right.
And then when I went up to under-20s, they were like, we're not doing under-20s anymore, just 18s. I was like, oh.
Oh, so they're just...
Yeah, they've just scrapped that. Like, they don't do 20s anymore.
Okay. There feels like there's some, like, what would be traumatic for a 16-year-old of, like, career-ending moment versus a bit of hope, then into there is no opportunity here.
Well, not in the Irish setup. So then we went, and I'm like, oh, well, there's still an opportunity for an international jersey. Like, yes, I would prefer Ireland. It's much of a nicer kit, but...
I fucking love green.
It's the best
Of course
colour.
I prefer Ireland over England. I just want to wear the green thing.
So yeah, then I'm like going, okay, well, there's England county stuff.
Right.
So let me give that a go.
You can keep going, I just had to check that's running.
Like, I did better with my attitude, I think.
Yeah.
But like, I knew the coaches a bit more, and that's when I learned it was a bit subjective.
Right.
And too subjective for my liking, because I'd get so far, I'd get to Southwest. And then the England coaches for the county setup, they rotated which region was the coach.
Right.
So the first year it was Southeast coaches were the England coaches. So obviously they just picked all the Southeast people. The next year it was the same, and the next year I think it was the Midlands or the North. And each year that we had like the England trials, which is where all the regions would play each other. Every year that happened, the maximum Southwest players that got picked was probably my first year at under-18s. I think 3 Southwest players got picked of a whole squad. Every other year after that, either no one, or it was 1, or maybe 2. It's like, but we aren't the worst. So yeah, for context, Southwest aren't the worst. We rarely beat the Southeast, but we can always beat the Midlands.
So there was reason for you to be selected.
Yeah, like there was reason, not specifically for me. But
no, yeah, for that group.
For the Southwest players, for more than like 3, 2, 1 like people.
And yet clearly politically you were not going to get picked. Like
Which was really fucking annoying, because it's like, well, would you pick players that are good, please, not who your friends are?
So now we've come to this point again where you have another hurdle of big fucking issue at 16, the opportunity going shift to this instead, and now you're hitting this wall. Did you get past that?
No, I was like, right, well, I'm going to finish this season off. So I finished my uni season. Got fucked over at uni as well.
Oh no.
We got to the Bucks final. I had been in every Bucks game for our team. Helped the team, like we all together. I didn't get us there. We as the team got there. Final day comes. Beck, you're on the bench. Why? Oh, well, this guy from the twos who hasn't played. I was in the third team, by the way. This guy in the twos who hasn't played any of our fucking Bucks games is going to start because it's his last year at uni and this is our last game of the season. How is that a good enough fucking reason to put me on the bench?
After earning it for that long.
After helping the fucking team get us there. And then playing the game, he spent 40 minutes, no, probably 50, 60 minutes, the coach, sorry, spent 50, 60 minutes shouting at the player who he'd replaced me with, calling him lazy, like saying that he wasn't working hard enough, same thing. Like he wasn't doing well in the scrums. And I'm like, oh, all those 3 things that I do on a rugby pitch. Like, no, I'm not very skillful, but I work fucking hard. And scrums are my bag. And I'm stood next to you, staring at your fucking face as you're ignoring me.
Right.
And you're shouting at this guy, being like, get up off the floor, go over there. Oh, you're ruining the scrums. I'm like...
So at 50 or 60 minutes, do you get put on? And how do you...
Fuming.
Yeah, this is what I'm expecting.
Fuming. And I had such a good warm-up as well. Like, we do this drill where you like pass it down the line as you run forward. Yeah. And like it was just an accidental, like went really high. I had this out-of-body experience where I just jumped up, one hand, caught the ball. Like, I'm not a skillful player, so me doing that...
You're like, I'm good today.
Like, I'm on form today.
Yeah. And so you find out bench right at the after warm-up?
I knew I was on the bench.
Oh, but
like I was...
Right.
Like I still want to do well.
So you get 20, 30 minutes on pitch?
Yeah, and I'm fuming.
How do you perform?
Pretty fucking good.
Okay.
But we'd lost by then, which was really annoying.
Right.
Like they'd scored because of his mistakes. Like, again, he was guarding at the ruck. They got past him. I'm like, if I guard at the ruck, people don't go past me. I might not be good at tackling an open space. Yeah. But if I've got a
relatively close space that I can cover.
Close space, I'm rather wide. But he's wider than me, so like, mate, you're just shit.
Just a slow fridge.
Yeah. Like, in that close space, they wouldn't have scored. They wouldn't have wheeled the scrum if I was in it to score from. Those kind of things. So yeah, I'm fuming, I go on. There's this scrum, I think the first scrum, very quickly, right on the sideline. There's Hopbury boys on the sideline. And they see me come on. And they go to the other prop and they go, hey, prop, number 1. And he turns and looks at them and they just go, you're fucked. And it was my favourite bit of the game because he looks at me and I went,
they're not fucking wrong.
Like, I'm so angry.
Okay, so as much as part of me just wants to know more about how many people you killed in that game, to take it off just it being about rugby, this is the first time you've come across your work ethic only takes you to the point that someone goes, no, I don't care how hard you worked, politics. And I'm assuming that has a very close relationship to why you moved to objective powerlifting.
Yeah. So after that game, I was like, not playing anymore. Like,
Oh, flat out.
yeah, I cannot handle the subjectivity. Like, I have a goal. I want to play internationally. I want to compete internationally for my country. Rugby, the barriers are your mum doesn't suck the coach's dick. Your dad hasn't paid for the kit. You're not friends with the coaches. Like, you didn't go to a private school. That really pisses me off.
I just want you to know, I'm going to take that sound bite, not contextualise you're talking about rugby, and everyone's going to be like, who's sucking dick in these sports?
So, yeah, that really pisses me off. And I was already doing some powerlifting, so like at 17.
Yeah, training alongside.
I did my first comp, which I only did my first deadlift in. So like all the squats, all the bench. My first pull, I was like, I have to go now and play in the Celtic Cup final. Bye.
Okay. So, but a big lead for you then, because the next thing we'll talk about is like the powerlifting
objective.
In principle. Because I think we know you come across more subjective hurdles in your career again.
Yeah, but I can't get too mad at it because people, if they lift more than me, they get picked ahead of me. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Like you beat me. I liked athletics because it was objective. You got picked because you threw the furthest. Thank you. Like, I work hard to throw far. I work hard to lift more. Then you get picked because the people aren't like, oh yeah, but he might be 10 kilos weaker, but we like him.
Yeah, none of that shit.
That doesn't make sense.
So powerlifting, next step, next movement of being like, right, I have something that I can safely say is objective, and now I can just work ethic the shit out of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, because throwing got to a point where I realised like physics gets involved in the fact that throwers are 6'8", and I'm not. I'm 5'8". They're all a foot taller than me, weak as piss, throwing further, and I'm getting strong, getting powerful. Like, I did well. I got long arms, so I did well when I was younger, just because long arms, and I was probably the only one that trained in the gym.
Right.
So yeah, I used to throw far for my age, like under 15s, under 17s, and again as I got older, wasn't throwing as far, and people were throwing further because they got bigger. I'm like, I can't grow taller.
I can grow outwards a little, but there's limitations.
Like, and looking at the international stage for throwing, they're all tall. Like, a short person would be 6'2".
So then you find a space in powerlifting and go,
yeah, sorry, then
this makes sense.
Like, powerlifting, there is a space for all heights. Great.
It's not heightist here, I can stay.
Yeah.
That's why we're both in the same sport. So you make the shift, you go from, I'm not doing rugby, I'm going to commit to powerlifting. Do you actually objectively say, I'm committing that powerlifting is the thing, that's what I'm going to do?
Yeah.
Okay,
so because I'd stop other things, I can't give up on this goal. The goal's not necessarily what has to be this sport, that sport. It's the goal is to compete internationally, represent the country.
This might sound like a really basic question, but why is that the goal?
So it's my family. I think only one person in my family has done anything that I'm aware of to impact the world nationally that I can talk about. In that respect, like my dad's job, he does impact the world. Can't talk about it.
Okay. Al-Qaeda?
He's a spy. No, but my granddad was what the fucking called? Social worker.
Right.
And he helped, I think him and my grandma, but I think his name's on it, he helped pass the law that grandparents can become guardians of adopted children. Like if the parent gives up their child for adoption, I think the grandparent can have the child a lot easier.
So they've done something that's quite substantial on a national scale.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, I would like to do that.
Why?
I just do. That's like,
I don't think everyone sets the goal of going, I want to compete, I want to wear a national jersey, whatever sport, whatever it is. I don't think anyone sets that of just you know what I'd like to do?
it's like so many. No, I don't think that me competing internationally at powerlifting is going to make like the family name renowned. Like, goes way more. There's way more that would need to be done. But just to live life and be like a boring person who just goes to school, gets a job, dies. Like, what did you do? What was the point on you even being here? Like, I'm not saying if people do that, kill yourself. No. No, not what I'm saying.
Well, there goes the episode.
I'm just saying, like, I want to do something substantial at some point in my life. And I know that when I'm older, that's going to be more difficult.
So this is something that you just see, it's within my wheelhouse of like, you're not gifted, but you can work your way through being athletically capable. So yeah. This is the thing you can do of value.
Yeah, I'm not also going to be blind and say I'm not gifted. There is clearly an element of gift here. Like, I've got long arms. That's going to help in a deadlift.
It doesn't help you bench.
It doesn't not help either. Bench is more related to chest thickness, by the way.
I was going to say ribcage size, but you can do you.
It's the same thing.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, one thing at a time. So,
close enough.
So deciding that this is the thing, this is the potential scale. So if powerlifting went away, would you just move to another sport?
Yes.
How?
I'd find something else.
So then what else, aside from its potential to reach you to the scale that kind of validates what you're after, why else do you actually want to do powerlifting?
Because, I mean, it's fairly new in the terms of the absolute freaks of the world don't do it yet. Freaks of the world do strongman and take lots of gear. Freaks of the world, the really tall pricks, they go and do throwing or basketball. Like, there's much more mainstream sports that have taken the actual genetic freaks who, plus working, so they'd be better than me if they didn't work hard.
Right.
Like, I can't outwork the fact that you're 9 foot tall. So finding a sport that's like, well, it doesn't matter how tall they are. It matters how strong we are. Like, I can just work on that.
So how do you feel about people who, now I don't know exactly everything he quotes, but take Kobe Bryant. Because I remember there's a speech where he talks about the fact like he didn't have the biggest hands compared to the other guys. So he just trained his grip strength, trained his forearms to make sure he could like hold the ball one hand, manage things well. He wasn't the tallest guy. He didn't have the best jump height, but he could train his jump height. He wasn't just the tallest guy. So do you think there is a point where you can literally outwork gift? Or do you think there's just like no, you just can't?
I think the mentality to outwork gift is a gift in itself. So with Kobe Bryant, if he's saying, oh, you know, hands aren't big enough, I don't jump the highest, all these things, he has the gift of working on his jump height to counteract people's height, working on his grip to counteract his small hands. Like, that's a gift. Many people don't have the gift to do that. They will see the thing and have the excuse of like, I'm not going to be able to do that.
So do you consider yourself, because I think if I told you I would consider you of it, but do you consider yourself to have the gift of like of work ethic then? What you would consider?
Not to the extent that Kobe
did.
More than an average person. Like, when I was playing rugby, I came up against bigger people every single game. Every single game, the prop against me was just some tall, fat cunt.
I might cap that word to one use. When I have to tick the box where it's like, is this for kids? My first thought is going to be like, not quite.
Okay, let's try again. Every time I had a game of rugby.
I'm not trimming it. That's staying. You can say it again. It's absolutely fine.
No.
You'd come across someone bigger than you.
I'm trying to help you here. Yeah, they'd always be bigger. And everyone goes, oh, you know, you're going to lose. He's bigger than you. I'm like, no, I'm not, because I'm stronger than him. And they're like, but you're smaller. And that's not how that works. And I would beat them, and they would be also very confused. They'd be like, what? And I'm not saying, you know, it's a scrum. There's 8 of us. I didn't do all the work. Like, I have my second row, I have my flanker. But I also made sure that they pushed. Like, if they didn't, I would tell them, because I'm like, guys, you need to help me. He is larger.
we can collectively do this.
We're at a disadvantage, guys.
So, because we're like, I'm very conscious of what your work ethic is like, of just just do the thing. Yours is very black and white. And so, with the rest of powerlifting, what was because someone said this about you on a podcast, I think, and then it was a sentence you put in a post. Someone said something about like, not an underdog, but like not real consideration. I remember it made you real mad.
Oh.
You don't have to quote who, because I can't remember who. Do you remember what the line was?
I know where it was from. It was the prediction podcast for this year's Nationals. And it made me, I wouldn't say mad. I've been madder at things.
You've been madder at chairs, dude.
it was the prediction podcast, and it was like, so 93 is what's going to happen. It's like, well, Keane's going to win. I'm like, yeah, he will.
That's fair.
And then we've got Ian will come third, because he's far enough ahead of the guy in fourth and fifth. And then Beck's capable of coming second because he did it last year. And I'm like, capable? It's a bit boring. Like, he's capable of doing it. Like, he's done it before. I'm like, I'll be fully honest. I don't believe I deserve to come second the first year. Everyone that was there, I'm ranked fifth. Like, everyone that I beat just had a bad day. I'm not walking around like, I'm the second. Like,
I mean, it's quite literally in your Instagram handle.
Second place, not second best.
Okay, right.
I don't think I'm the second best.
So when we're talking about like the end goal, the result, and like what it is that you've achieved, is the thing for you, it has to be a result of the work ethic rather than a result of the outcome? Like because obviously there's a difference. Like you can come first when no one else shows up.
Yeah.
Or you can come first because you beat everyone. How much does it matter to you being one or the other?
My goal, so it may help to just say what my goal is for powerlifting. Like, yeah, I want to compete internationally. I'm going to do that in September. That's not the end of my goal. That's the step to, I want to go to the world champs. Like, that's the first part of the goal, is I want to go to world champs. I'm not worried if I come last. I want to go because I work to get there. Like, to do that, I've probably got to win Nats. To do that, I've got to get whatever total I need. Like, those steps before. But that's the first goal. And then once I've got that, like, I've been to worlds, had that experience, then I can decide, like, do I want to go again? Do I want to do better? Like, do I want to look at top 10, top 5?
Right, okay. So with the work ethic that you have of, like, it is or it isn't, and now it's into powerlifting and it gets to that level, and then someone says capable and you're like, I don't like capable.
No.
What to you is you being, so outside of the outcome, the day-to-day, what is successful in you, what it has, so like, what do you have to do to meet your standard day-to-day? So whether that's like, it's absolute everything, I tick every box, no excuses. Is it like, I just have to do a little bit better than yesterday? Is it like, I just have to be okay today? I just have to... What?
I like to set a routine. I'm very bad at it. I've been trying for a while. Like, since not going to school, a routine's really hard for me to do. I'll be honest.
I've learned some of that.
Yeah, so like, I set, like, for me, if I can achieve my routine in a day, I'll be happy. Happy is a strong word. I will not be mad. Because I want to get up at a certain time, I want to be in the gym at a certain time, I want to finish a session in a certain time. Like, I want to have this routine, build it, and just be able to accomplish this routine. And the routine is part of me being like, well, if I work at it, like, this routine will be enough work, or is me working hard to achieve then the goals ahead. If I can't even achieve this routine today, then I shouldn't look at this end goal, like, because that won't happen.
Do you find that you are doing the routine enough?
No, not for my personal satisfaction. If it's not 100% done.
So this is where, this is what I'm getting out of, like, so, because obviously I coach you, I know what you're like. Yeah. I get the messages, which is probably 99.9% either it's okay or it's shit. Like, they're your measures. At what point are you like, I'm happy with that?
In where are we talking about training or my day-to-day again?
We can go with either. Of like, what is it that you would be like, I'm proud and I'm happy with that? Is it only when the outcome's achieved? Or is it any of the bits in between?
So my level of disappointment in myself is how much of the routine I accomplished. So if I got up on time, I'm like, we're starting at a good point. Like, tick, that box is...
Today's not going well for you.
No. No, today, not great. You know, did I eat breakfast in time? Did I get my walk in? Have I got to the gym in time? Have I finished my sessions? Like, each thing. But then the problem is when one thing, like, if I don't get up in time, if I don't get out of bed on time, that's not a good start for the day, because everything else gets pushed back. So that day is a bit fucked, and Beck's quite angry with himself. He's never angry with other people. No one makes Beck late. Beck makes himself late.
Beck speaks in third person. So when you're like, but you could be 10 minutes into your day, you're awake, you said you'd be up at 7, it's 8:30, and you're like, right, it's 8:40 now, fuck today. I'll get everything done, but it's not going to be good enough.
Yeah, like I'm just annoyed. I'm not going to be like, oh, you know, fuck today.
Not do anything.
I'm going to stay in bed. I'm like, well, I've still got to do all the things in my list.
I'm just annoyed I haven't started it.
Yeah.
So, because I know you as a coach, and it is not how you would say, well, it's not what you'd say to an athlete. Because you'd be like, right, so why would you absolutely not say that to an athlete?
Because these are the standards that I set myself.
Mm-hmm.
If an athlete came to me and displayed that they had the same standards for themselves, they were like, I'm just like really annoyed at this, that. I probably actually still wouldn't treat them like me. I treat myself.
Yeah.
Because you were so happy I said that.
Yeah, I'm really glad we're getting to what I was after here.
No, I actually still wouldn't, because I know that people being positive about it or helping you with it, the problem is all my failures are down to me. I put them down to me, and that's true. Because I feel like a dick if I'm like, oh well, I woke up late because I was up late doing X, Y, Z, like doing check-ins. Like I'm not going to blame my athletes that I did that work late.
But if it was an athlete, so athlete comes to you and is like, okay, so I didn't do, like, I got up 10 minutes late. I said I'd be up at this time. Now I'm irritated. Like internally, I'm irritated, and you're like, we need to find, because I know what I would say, which is like, okay, well, we need to find a way to balance that, because the most important thing is you're still getting all the stuff done, which means 99% successful, which is already going to be enough to see progress, and it won't impact your training. And like, let's see the thing that's the caveat, you can allow yourself a little bit of give and take, whereas you can't.
Not for myself.
And yet, the measure of your success, which will be the outcome, will be reliant on all of those things going better, which would go better if you were more generous with yourself.
The thing is they usually do get done. They're just not at the times that I wanted to do them.
But that still means...
Or I'd have to like, take something out, which I'd prioritise the thing. Like, I don't know what it would be. I'd take out maybe a walk or something. Or like, oh, I've scheduled in myself some free time to relax. I'm like, well, Beck's not relaxing today.
There's no relaxing being done. That's out.
I relaxed in the morning.
Being late.
Being lazy.
Okay. So if I give you an athlete and say, would this athlete be more likely to be great if they were a little kinder to themselves as how they spoke to themselves and saw themselves? Would the answer be yes or no? You love black and white. I'm only giving you two choices.
Yeah.
Okay. I give you Beck and I say, same thing for Beck. Should Beck be kinder to himself?
Beck should be.
Beck won't be. I appreciate the honesty.
Beck won't be.
So then I'm going to ask you some of the other questions that I have for you, I think, because I think that leads on really nicely for it. Because then there's a relationship there with how you talk to an athlete versus how you talk to yourself. What led you to wanting to be a coach? Because it didn't lead you to being like, I want to treat people how I treat me.
No.
What is it that made you want to coach?
Ultimately, I want to help people. I know I have this skill set. So even when I played rugby, we'd have S&C sessions. The rugby coaches would be like, you aren't very good. The S&C coaches would be like, you're good at this shit in the gym. Like, you're naturally stronger than most of the people in here. It wasn't a big team. It was like, we're all children, by the way. I'm not like, I was stronger than the first team.
You don't have to be humble when you're talking about you were like 12. Like, it's fine.
And yeah, like my form was like pretty good because I would just pay attention. But I also had the interest in, oh, right, if I do squats, it makes me stronger. Cool. Stronger be good for rugby. And one of the S&C coaches was like, you should do this instead of that. Like, you should gym, you should find a strength sport because you'd be good at that. And I was like, but I want to play rugby. So at that age, it didn't really sink in. And then after a while, I was like, when I was thinking, well, what should I do? Now I'm not going to do rugby. I'm like, well, I remember that coach told me,
strength,
do this.
So,
and my interest in it, and my thought, like, I'm good at this, I know the stuff about it, I can help people. I'm in my job, I can help people do this.
why do you want to help people?
That's a weird question. What do you mean, why do I want to help people?
Some people just want to go to work, do the thing, and have a good just for them. They don't want to partake in like assisting developing other people. Like, it's a hardship. any coach will admit it's hard coaching because you are actively trying to assist someone towards their goals. You carry some of their value. What is it that makes you want to do that?
I don't know. I guess it's again having like an impact on life, on the world, like helping people in an area that I can help them in. If someone comes to me like, I want to learn to cook, I'm like, go find a chef.
I saw your dinner last night. I fully agree. Your fucking cauliflower and noodles. Still mad about that, by the way.
Yeah, just go find a chef or something. I can't help you with that, but if it's something I can help you with, like, ask me. I'll help you.
So then, within that, what is the type of person that you want to turn up and say, I'd like you to help me? What is it that you actually look for in an athlete?
Someone who wants to be helped, not someone who thinks that they want help or says that they're like, this person's helping me. Like I said, I posted on the threads or whatever. Do you want a coach? Do you want to be coached? Or do you just want to tell people you have a coach? Like, if you're not going to do the work that I'm saying, like, you want to achieve this goal, well, let's do this. I'm going to help you, provide you with some tools, resources. And if you just take them, don't use them, and come to me as like, I'm not getting any better. So, what are you doing the thing? No, then you're not going to get better. You've got to do the work.
So someone who has a matching work ethic value.
Yeah, value is important. The work ethic value. I'm not saying people have to work as hard as I do. I know people work way harder than I do. I don't think I work that hard, really.
We've covered your own self-hatred, it's fine.
But yeah, the value of work ethic, someone who understands it's got to be done. It's not, you're not going to be given this thing.
I think there's something I put out the other day, which was like, getting a coach isn't a cheat code, it's just a resource. Where it's like, you now have a coach, you're not stronger now, you just have a better idea of how to get stronger.
Yeah. And if the person's going to combat you on it, that's really annoying. It's like, oh, well actually, I saw this on Instagram. I'm like, would you like my help or not?
I'm sure that was good on Instagram, but I feel like I've given you an answer. We can work with that. So what else? What else does that athlete have to be? Like, what is it the thing you go, I like working with this person? Is it just work ethic alone?
It's a big part of it because, and communication. So, informing me of what they're up to. And I'm not like nosy, I don't care when you had a shit. But yeah, just say, like, if something's going wrong or a change needs to be made, let me know. Versus you struggle and deal with it on yourself, because you want this coaching service, like, that's part of it. Like, let me help you. Someone who accepts the help as well. Like, oh, I'm going to work hard, but only the things I want to work hard on. I'm like, but you're being coached.
I think one of those things that's very reflective then in your coaching, same as an athlete, of like the work ethic for you of, I said I'll coach. I will do 100% of what I said I would do, which is like, I will reply when I said I'd reply. I will do the program I said I would. I'll make sure it's a good program like I said I would, which is just, I just want an athlete that will meet me on my expectations. Let me do my job.
Yeah.
Simple. I have more for you, don't worry.
Okay, cool.
The panic and fit. The next question, what do you enjoy most about coaching? What is it that actually brings you the most satisfaction?
I enjoy seeing people progress. Just in general. Like, outside of coaching, seeing someone progress at a thing that they're working on, I'm like, I enjoyed it. Like, well done, good. But then when I can be a part of that journey and help them progress, I'm still like, great, like, I impacted your development in a positive way. Like, I enjoy that.
Any other bits?
Programming. I enjoy programming. I enjoy writing. So I've got to think about it. At school, I enjoyed like maths and physics up to a point where I got really hard, and I was like, I'm a dip.
I like this to a point.
And I'm like, okay, this. I'm starting not to see the value of this in my coaching career. I'm gonna bounce.
Because wait, at what point did you decide you wanted to be a coach?
I'd say A levels.
Early then. I mean, you're only, what, 15 now? With that facial hair.
Sorry, you're an old man.
You've been homeless for that many years. What at that point, you knew that early on you wanted to help other people? coaching in general?
I knew that I had the ability to. Like I could get the resources, the knowledge. Like I knew at A levels that like, yeah, I could. Like, what job do I want to do? Well, what skills have I got that people are going to pay me for?
This is the ikigai thing. What you're passionate about, what you're good at, what you're going to get paid for. And I think there's one more, I can't remember what it is. No one cares. Those three mostly. But
Yeah.
So coaching just fell in the middle when you were like, then that, I'll do that.
Even though people were like, oh, people need like teachers. I'm never going to be a teacher. I hate people.
And then you went, but I'll be a coach. You're aware that it's very similar.
Similar, but a teacher has to teach people who don't want to learn. Coach coaches people who want to be coached.
I like that. That's a fair point. You know, I'm quoting that, right? Like, not right now. I'm not going to post a thread. Good. So then, when you came on with DBD, when you were like, this is the coaching work you're going to be doing, there's a lot of objective features that really align for you. Like when you're working with an athlete, it's clearly the bits that are like programming. This is the thing. With like actual video analysis, this is the fix. Some things that they're not objective for everyone, but they're objective with the person once you figure it out. Like that will fix your thing. Very high percentage chance. What are the skill sets you think you've developed the most in your coaching career? Whether it's be since we met or before then?
I'd say because programming isn't that hard.
When you understand it.
Yeah, it wasn't nailed early on. Like I could write a program, it was top-down methodology, it was based on other programs I'd seen, it was based on rough knowledge of low reps, high weight, high rep and all that shit.
Yeah.
So like, I still could write a program, wasn't any good at the age of 17, but I could write one.
Yeah.
So that developed and got better, but that was with knowledge. Again, black and white, like this is a thing that works.
Yeah.
The thing that I again struggled with because I don't like people in general is the people skills, like talking to people. I never had like a retail job. I never had much interaction like with public because they annoy me. So that's the biggest thing that has improved for me, I'd say, is being able to talk to people that I don't know or never met. Like online coaching, I haven't met everyone that I coach online. They haven't met me. So being able to communicate with them is important correctly, building a rapport. Building rapport is something I learned a lot at uni and how important that is. And because we literally have modules on it, I'm like, this is helpful for coaching. This is the things that we need to learn about. Because previously it's been like, to be a good coach, you must be able to demonstrate exercises, you must be able to program, you must be able to tell people like how to get better. But not how you tell them how they get better.
I think that's probably, even since we started talking on the coaching front, even before joining DVD, that was like the most ongoing topic of just like communication skills with people. Because very early on it's, okay, I have this person that is a form of a machine to do X job. That's simplistic. And then like, oh, well, they only understand it this way, or they only see it this way, they perceive it that way. This is how their emotions tie into it. And you're like, I now have to learn that stuff and how to relay these things to them in a way that makes sense to them and that they will enjoy to then get the outcome still.
Yeah, I think it's called, in coaching they call it soft skills, and then some coaches don't like that it's called soft skills because it's not soft, it's important. I'm like, I don't care what it's called.
I don't care what it's called either.
But yes, that is
communication-based skills. Yeah. Probably one of the most, like with an online coach, unless you come across an athlete like you, which I've coached for 11 years, you don't come across people like you very often. But unless you come across someone like you have to learn those skills. You have to use those skill sets every single day. I have polar opposite kind of people that I coach, and they cannot be spoken to the same way. Some people it's like, shut the fuck up, do the thing, and they're like, yeah, let's go. Some people are like, hey, wanna do the thing? They're like, the thing could do. I'm like, no, you know you're doing that. Like, yeah, I do. You're neither of those. You're the here's the thing, and you're like, I've done it. Okay, so with that, the other questions that we got asked was how you came to be part of DBD.
So my version of the story is maybe different to yours.
It's similar.
We spoke about this because you told me this question and I said, oh, here's my answer. And you went, there's more to this. So my answer is, I finished my undergrad. I was trying to get a job in S&C. So I was applying for internship roles. I was applying for like open things and Like, you don't have enough experience. I'm like, of course I fucking don't. Even though I've done like 3 years in DPP, which is like the...
That's not our brand, by the way.
3 years in the like, development, like youth development in rugby. I've done a year placement with Academy Rugby, and you know, so 4 years experience. And they're like, well, it's not 5, is it? I'm like, oh my god. Like, there's only so much volunteering I could do, and then I didn't want to go and do a master's, but when I couldn't find a job, I did, because then I didn't have to work in a warehouse again, which was my usual summer job.
Right.
And I got to the point where I'm like, I need money, I need a job. I know a guy who's got a coaching brand. I can be a coach. It's online, so I don't have to go anywhere. So yeah, I just messaged you like, Callum, Paul, please can I have a job? And you went, okay.
And this is where we differ on how that story goes. Everything up until that point, objectively true. Mm-hmm. I think the moment you messaged was, hey, do you actually take on other coaches to work with the brand?
Okay.
You didn't go, can I have job? And I went, okay. And then we did the developmental process. And it was just...
yeah, it wasn't just, here's a job, here's your clients, and you...
Best of luck.
Yeah, no, it was, you were like, no, we have standards, you've got to meet this. We're going to go through your internship, like, you're going to do free coaching for a few months with people. I'm like, okay, a few months of free work is better than a few years of free work, so...
This is true.
Let's go.
And then it was just, yeah, getting into developing the standard of what it is that we deliver, making sure the communication skills, the programming skills, and I think actively arguing over programming early on was probably the most fun thing and the most developmental. Do you remember, because I still remember this conversation, the high sets, high reps, I'm like, that's weightlifting, and you're like, but it works. I'm like, yeah. And then we differed for a long time, and then we found middle grounds to being like, okay, there's caveats to everyone. Where it applies, it applies.
Again, I had the black and white view of, and also having, at that point, not much experience with people. And you were like, psychology. I'm like, what? I didn't have any psychology modules. This isn't important for coaching. I'm not a psychologist.
I think this is a good one, like, and because just to cover it in brief, that we were talking about, I think it was something like, oh, if I gave someone a 10x2, it's equally effective as skill recognition of doing like, what's that, 20 working reps, or like a 4x5. And I was like, yeah, but there's drastic differences in execution just based on psychology of most athletes you'll ever work with. And you were like, why? And I was like, work with people for a bit. And then you were like, okay. And then there was an athlete and there wasn't far in, and you were like, I'm changing it down. Like, I won't remain this. And that was just the learning curve of what people are like.
Yeah, so the books may say, you got to practice a skill. Like, yeah, you got to practice it often. I'm like, yeah, okay. So the extreme example, as you said, 10x2, so 10 sets of 2. Like, you practice that first rep 10 times. Like, you reset 10
Makes
times.
complete logic.
You get so much practice, and then you're like, people aren't going to do that. They're going to check out mentally, and it's not going to be productive after set 4. I'm like, what? What? This confuses me.
I genuinely think that's one of the biggest elements, was the guided coaching, like being with myself, being like, coach the people, here's the things that will probably happen. Then they start popping up, like, see, these are the things that are a bit crazy. And it just became a matter of experience, because even in, how long have you been with DVD now?
I started in March.
Happy anniversary. We missed it entirely.
Thanks. It's now, what month is it now?
July.
Just now July. but March a year ago, not.
Yeah, not too much. It's not just been a couple of months and been like, oh yeah, I'm in, I'm done. But yeah, like the amount of development in both your programming, your communication skills, you are a very different person to when I met you. Well, when I met you, it's a whole different ballgame. No one asked that question, so they don't get the answer. Fuck them.
Good. I wasn't going to tell them anyway.
That bit's covered. I won't ask you all of these, because we'll be here all day.
I was enjoying this.
Holy shit. Never thought I'd hear that. I was waiting for it to end and you'd be like, that's the worst thing I've had to do. Which one do I want to ask you? The question was like, what is your and Callum's dynamic like? But I think if they're listening to this, they probably get a good feel. Begrudging.
Depends.
I don't think we argue.
No, but we disagree on some things.
Yeah.
But I separate me and you coach athlete, me and you work environment, me and you friend.
Yeah.
I separate all three of those things.
Yeah, likewise. Although we communicate all in the same spots, which makes life somewhat tricky, because all communication goes through WhatsApp and it's like, this is now a different conversation, different vibe. And then friend chat, whatever.
Yeah, but Yeah, we separate those very well, and I think that's important.
I think of, on a professional basis, across any job I've ever had, you're the best person I've worked with. As a profession, of being like, professional line now, this is a professional conversation. And also like, if there's something you don't like, you're like, I don't like that. Rather than, I'm gonna think about this for 6 months and then be mad about it. It's like, hey, this, not okay with me. I'm like, okay, what do we want to work on? You're like, this, done.
Yeah.
I'd say it's a very productive, even when we were talking about development of sheets, development of like the stuff we want to offer, it's immediately professional chat. And then it's quite clear when we finish the professional chat, because then it's like, so anyway, I hate lifting.
Yeah, that's important, because if I was to drag in the fact that I don't like myself into business chat and be depressing and you being like, oh, we need to do this thing, and well, I'll just do it late anyway.
I got up at 7:30 today. I don't want to talk to you at 9 p.m, Callum.
You know, that's not going to help the business. Like,
But yeah, no, I think it actually works really well, and people absolutely don't see our dynamic because we don't post any of that shit.
maybe we should.
We're doing it now.
Oh.
Winning. Look at us go. Like, this is very much a mix of professional and friends.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah. I hate that I'm going to ask you this. What is your favourite kind of chair?
Throwable ones, obviously.
Most of them. As long as it's not a sofa. You're not throwing my sofa. You're on death row.
Yeah, I saw this question.
You like this one. You're on death row. What meal are you picking? If you say
Single course?
Yeah, one course. You don't get a 3-course meal.
I don't know, he said they'll give you
You're on
anything
death row.
want.
You don't deserve it.
I've seen death row meals, they can order just... I could make a 3-course.
Give me a 3-course. I'm not arguing with you. What's your 3-course meal?
I'm not a fan of starters, I'm going to do 2-course.
Oh, fuck you.
Last meal, lasagna and cheesecake.
You're such... Lasagna was... So I went away to South America for like 3 months, and I finally came home, and I think my 2 meals I desperately wanted were shepherd's pie and lasagna, and that's all I wanted in the world. So the cheesecake thing, I think people should also know you're lactose intolerant, because I think it's really important for how fucking weird that is. We were
And
like,
the amount of cheese on a lasagna.
oh, yeah. You were like, what do you want for death row? The shits. I'm going out the way I came in. A fucking mess. We know why your Instagram name is Second Place Beck.
Because I often come second.
Which was funny and also self-deprecating. I will say to anyone who's listening and is at this point, well done. But
Yeah.
Beck needs to change his Instagram handle, and I would like public votes on what this should be.
Which account? People get confused. I've realised people don't know I have 2 accounts. They do think I change my name every fucking day.
I still think you should have 1 account. I don't think it favours you to have 2.
One of them is Second Place Beck _90, or I don't know, dots and underscores. The other one is Beck DBD currently.
And I think that one needs to be,
Okay.
what is Beck? It should either be like Angry Beck or Coach Beck or just something that's you, but maybe not just Beck. They'll vote. They won't. We'll get like 1 recommendation. It'll be like chair throwing Beck.
Yeah, sure. That's easy for people to type in. And
How many of the other ones we had do you actually want to answer? Should we do? We'll do the last one.
which was
How are you prepping for Western Euros?
just training. I got a nutritionist, abs nutrition. Connor is my guy.
My guy.
My guy. He was very upfront about being like, if you want help, I'll help you. Like
Right.
I believe I messaged him about it before. He's like, hey, if you want help, I'll help you, because I was trying to scope out a nutritionist.
Right.
Because again, finding a coach, I wanted someone a bit like me in the sense of like, or someone who would cater for the fact that I'm like, tell me what to do and I will go and do that.
Yeah.
I don't want you the fancy, the frillies, the padding. Just
yeah. People.
this is gonna work.
There's not many people that will be used to your character, so getting someone to be like, hey, no, I will literally just do the thing. Just tell me the thing.
Whereas they're like, oh, well, if you change this and do that, and I'm like, so do it. And they're like, well, if you want to. I'm like,
Just yes or no. That's all I need.
will it work? Oh, we'll see. Like, no, will it work?
How far out from Western Euros are you now?
About 8 weeks. 8 weeks today, I think.
I think you are 8 weeks out.
Or 8 weeks yesterday. Depends. The final timetable's now.
Yeah, we'll see when they actually move the days and you're like, oh, you're 3 weeks out. That would be a fun game, going in off the back of doubles. I'll do it.
I'll go.
And then what's the hope and expectations for Western Euros?
So I find, having done a few comps, whenever I go in at the bottom, which is why I am going into this, like ranked, I just go and I enjoy myself and I'll just try and hit PBs and I'll focus on my lifts. When I go in anywhere near the top going into it, I put too much pressure on myself, I worry about where I'm placing, I don't just go and enjoy my lifts, and I do worse. I don't do as well as I want to or I could have done. So that happened my first British Junior Nationals. I was maybe coming in at 6th or something, and I finished 4th. So yeah, it's not massive, but like I did better because I just focused on what I had to do. The next Junior Nationals, I was ranked 2nd or 3rd, I can't remember, and I finished 2nd. Like, it was where I was, and I don't think I left any kilos on the table, but like the pressure going into it, I didn't have the same mindset and focus on the right things. First Open Nationals in Ireland was ranked again, I think 5th or 6th. Went in, just had fun. People had a bad day. Beck didn't. Beck came 2nd.
Simple. The Beck.
So there's 2 cases where Beck came 2nd. Beck put pressure on himself in his 3rd strongman comp to win, because he'd won his first, came 6th in his 2nd, did that same comp again a year later and was like, I'm going to win, I'm not stronger now, came 2nd. 3 cases.
There's more.
Beck then went to his most recent nationals, put too much pressure on himself, did worse than the year before, came 2nd.
I think there's a theme which hopefully
that's why my name.
You're learning from.
But yeah, so going into the Western Euros, I want to go into the mindset of, like, I'm at the bottom, it doesn't matter, focus on yourself, and I want to practice, if I'm ever ranked near the top, to go in and focus on myself and not worry about the placings.
Because no matter what as well, when you're at that level, the person doing placings is the handler. You aren't even in that game. Like,
and I have no idea about this.
Yeah. Do you know that? Right?
Yeah, I was aware that I have less input into the numbers at that stage.
I think the national just gone, I saw someone was having a go at the Canadian coaches. I think it was the Canadians, so if I'm wrong, fuck them. But where they were like, they made attempt selections and the athletes were arguing and they made the attempt selections anyway. And so like, now obviously GB has good handlers who will just be like, what do you think you can do? I think we should do this. And you can have a conversation. But sometimes it's, here's what's going on the bar. This is for the placing. They're just picking the number. So like, if you're not focused just on you and you're stressing about other stuff, you have no control there anyway. And this is where that whole like, what variables are in your control? And you have a better time when you're like, my lifting, my shit, let me just do my thing and have a bit of fun with it.
Yeah, and I should enjoy the experience, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to go to international again. I don't know. I'm going to work for it, obviously. I didn't know this was going to happen.
Yeah, this was literally a complete surprise.
Complete surprise. Because they, international squads, no, national federations set national standards for international comps. I wasn't anywhere close to the standard. I'm like, that's fine. You know, not expecting an invite to Worlds.
Yeah.
Just because I came second that's not grounds for invite. And they make that clear. It's like, you got to hit this standard and podium. I'm like, podiumed, didn't come to standard, no international. That's fine, work harder, come back next year. And then I get the email, as I'm looking for client check-ins, I find this email, I'm like, what? Look at it, and it's my invite, I'm like,
I'm going to tell the people, just so they know you are a real person, that you cried, because you told me you cried.
I cried.
Like, why? Right, guys, if you listened up to this point, that is actually going to be the end of this podcast. We had a conversation that was quite close and personal to Beck, and we've decided not to put these conversations out publicly, which I'm sure you guys can appreciate. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Please do tune in next time for some of the guests that we have coming on, and I hope you enjoyed the discussion that we had. Thanks.